was never canceled. I was redirected.
I'm gonna stand up for what is right and what is true.
It took a mother of a Disney Channel show to stand up for America's kids and say, you don't have the right to force any medical product on our children. And nobody was there to back me up.
I'm pro-life, and I'm anti-mandate, and I'm pro-freedoms.
We the people versus a very small global elite. I would speak up for this generation no matter what.
Wow. Woo! When sparks fly. Am I right? Wow. Welcome to AmFest 2024, or as I like to call it, BAMFest. Okay, now who here would say that I somewhat had a hand in raising you? See, now that's the comment I most often hear. You raised me. Well, as your TV mother, I have some things that I'd like to say. So buckle up, Buttercup, because I'm not messing around anymore. I'm here today to talk to you about one of the nastiest fallacies to ever pervade our society, and I'm very well versed in it. Cancel culture. So let's start off with a bang, shall we? The top 3 things you can do to get yourself canceled. Starting off at number 3, post, comment, or like some stuff. The first time I was canceled was for a comment that I made on Joe Biden's Twitter account. He had a picture of himself with a mask, and the caption said, "Wear a mask." So I responded, masks aren't law, that's just an overreaching suggestion, but you do you, boo. Now, little did I know at the time that that is grounds for immediate cancellation and the death penalty. Yes, after trending to number 2 on Twitter and receiving numerous death and rape threats, I was branded a homophobic, Trump-loving racist. I guess those 26 episodes of Will and Grace that I did were just overlooked. So coming in hot at number 2 on what to do to get yourself canceled, speak at a school board meeting. Oh, that infamous school board meeting. Later, where Joe Biden held a press conference about the parents that spoke at the Williamson County School Board meeting, me. He said that we were inciting violence and that our opposition to his COVID measures was an act of domestic terrorism. That was me he was talking about. He said that about your mother. Inside Edition cut up my video, set it to ominous music, and narrated it as The Rant. Articles popped up about my anti-mask tirade. It was the rant heard round the world. And overnight, I went from America's favorite mom to America's favorite domestic terrorist. Pew, pew. But the number 1 way to get canceled is to pick a fight with Big Pharma. Let me just be very clear. Spoiler alert, I will not comply to any medical mandates ever. This is one nation under God with liberty and justice for all. It is not one nation under government with liberty and justice for those who comply. If we as a country lose the right to reject a medical product made by the most corrupt industry in the history of the world, if the government captures the right to force medicate a people against their will, if you give up the sovereignty over your body, it is game over, people. If you are for showing your papers in order to participate in society, if you want government or corporate control of food, education, science, healthcare, entertainment, news, if you want 3D printed meat bought with your tokens earned for good behavior and blind compliance, you are not part of the resistance. Yeah? See, that is some First Order, dark side, demonic, Sith Lord, Supreme Leader Snoke, Emperor Palpatine worshiping Bolshevik. And I don't care what your stance is on vaccines. Oh, shoot. I said it. I said the forbidden V word. The word no one is allowed to say. It's up there with Voldemort. You dare not say it. Remember when the forbidden V word was vagina? Those were the good old days, am I right? Look, I don't care if you love them or hate them. Vaccines, not vaginas. I don't care if you got 10 of them or refuse to get any. Your freedom to choose what goes into your body is your inalienable, God-given right. That decision doesn't belong to Fauci, it doesn't belong to Biden, it doesn't even belong to Trump, and it certainly doesn't belong to Speaker Mike Johnson. It is your right just for existing as a human being. See, your sovereignty comes from God and God alone. No man, no government, no court can take that from you. This is the issue where I will dig my gold platform heels in and not budge 1 inch. So before this becomes a hill to die on, I implore you, please, make it a hill to not comply on. Did you hear that, Speaker Mike Johnson? This is what it looks like when I dig my heels in. Did you hear what was in that spending bill? Vaccine mandates, mask mandates, vaccine passports, expanded emergency powers, and gain-of-function research. That is so 2020. I mean, as his employer, what do we think about that? No. So I just want to let you know, if you're listening, Supreme Leader Johnson, that I, for one, am not doing that. Now, the first time I was canceled, it was horrifying. I'm not going to lie to you. My body felt numb, sick. I felt terrible. I went to bed that night and I didn't even know who I was anymore. But then a miracle happened. I woke up the next day and lo and behold, I still existed, right? My husband looked at me and he had that familiar glance and I knew he recognized me. My children, they asked me to make them breakfast and I was like, ha-ha, my existence had in fact not been erased. See, here's the truth. You can't cancel people. You can cancel your dinner reservations. You can cancel your gym membership. You can cancel your flight. You cannot cancel people. You can't erase someone's existence by closing your eyes, throwing a tantrum, and saying the word cancel a bunch. It doesn't work. It's like when toddlers play hide and seek and they're convinced when they cover their eyes that you somehow disappeared when you're actually standing right there in front of them. See, the real purpose of cancel culture is to put so much social pressure on you that you shut up and quietly go away. I recently wrote my first children's book. It's called One Small Little Voice. It's about a princess. It's actually not about a princess, it's about me dropping some truth bombs at a school board meeting, but let's say for the sake of argument, it's about a princess who uses her one small little voice to speak up, save her kingdom as everyone is locked away, hiding in their homes, held captive by fear. I had an interview for that book release and I was asked the most interesting question. She asked me, Miss Baker, what made you change so radically to stand up to Hollywood? And I thought, am I radical? I mean, that is a big word. I mean, I know I'm red, but like, am I radical? And then it hit me. I didn't change. They did. I was perfectly willing and able to go to work, smile at people, show my face, breathe air, live life. They wanted me to shut my mouth, muzzle my thoughts, mask my face, interview by video, stand 6 feet apart on a little circle on the floor behind plexiglass, take their shot, show my papers, swab my brain. A disease so deadly, you have to stick a cotton swab from China made with ethylene oxide up your nose to your brain to see if you have it. I just wanted to raise my kids, live life, work a bit. They wanted me to comply to all of their tyrannical demands or else. I didn't radically change. They did. The world is upside down right now. Every day is Wacky Wednesday. And it's all by design. It's straight out of their little Marxist playbook. They want us to fight each other. And let me be clear who I'm talking about when I say they. I'm talking about the guys who so humbly named themselves the global elite. You know the guys, the really rich, unelected 1% that go to Davos in private jets and make decisions about what they think is best for us as they plan a one world order. You know, Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum that says we can never go back to normal, and by the year 2030, you will own nothing and you will be happy about it. I have 4 words for you, Klaus. You go first, loser. Or his BFF, Billy Boy Gates. Billy wants you to eat bugs instead of meat in an effort to stop global warming because farting cows are a threat to the ozone layer, but spraying the skies with a chemical cocktail to block out the sun is good. These knuckleheads are called globalists because they want a one-world global economy and government, and they want to be in charge of it all. Please do not ever forget Yuval Noah Harari said the quiet part out loud when he boasted, in the future, you will have to accept that a small group of elites will be your gods. Well, Yuval, if you want to be my god, I'm going to have to be your mother and give you a big spanking, a timeout, and take away your phone. See, they need you to feel the pressure to conform. Don't fall for it. You cannot comply your way out of this tyranny. Pressure can either burst a pipe or it can make a diamond, and you get to decide which it's going to be. Are you going to allow this world to break your will or strengthen your resolve? Are you going to let the fear and the chaos confuse you, consume you, or are you going to wake up every day with a renewed hope in a God that keeps his promises? Now, before being an actress, producer, writer, speaker, vigilante, domestic terrorist, I know I am called by God to be a mother. I feel it in my bones. I love my kids. I'd give it all up to protect them. I did, and I'd do it again. And I love your generation. I feel a connection to you. So when I love you guys. So when Joe Biden referred to me as a domestic terrorist, I could have cowered in fear. But let me tell you, that day, that public servant poked the wrong mama bear. You think I was bold at that school board meeting? I was just getting started. I do not co-parent with the government. These globalists will not steal this generation on my watch. I will not participate in the freedom-sucking, government-indoctrinating, financial enslaving, one-world tyrannical takeover where your generation pays for the mistakes that my generation made because we were too afraid to speak up, stand up, rise up, brave up. Now, I'm not saying speaking the truth is going to be easy. I'm not saying you won't lose your job, face adversity, lose your friends. Look, it's hard. I have paid a price. To stand up for what you know to be true is hard. But I want you to keep hope, because there are three things that always come out: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And sometimes we are just called by God to do hard things. God has set me on a new path. It's not one I ever anticipated. It is not one I ever would have volunteered for, but he uses all bad for good, and so I am grateful for all the haters. I'm grateful for the entire experience. My life is so much better because of it. I moved out of Chinafornia. Yep. I don't have to pay for Gavin Newsom to eat at the French Laundry anymore. The beautiful state of Tennessee is now my home. I don't even have to pay state income tax. Yeah? And I don't have to turn my neighbor in for not wearing a mask. I'm close to my family, aunts, uncles, cousins, my nieces. My children get to spend time with their grandparents on a regular basis. It is such a gift that I would have missed out on had I kept my head down and complied. Friends that I had for years stopped speaking to me. No Christmas card, no happy birthday, nothing. Guess what? God was clearing the deck for some real friendships to grow. And I have never had better friends than the ones that I have right now. I homeschool my kids now, too. That's right. Took them out of those little indoctrination camps. Our time with our children is precious. I want you to do me a favor. When you leave here today, kids, I want you to look back at a picture on your phone of you 3 years ago. Just 3 years, it's a blip. Look at how young you look. You look like a baby. But here's the thing. You're our babies. Parenting is the most bittersweet job in the world. I am raising the people that I can't live without to live without me. Time is a gift. Open it and cherish it. Now, as far as work goes, that was a big blow. In the Bible, John 12, 42, 43 talks about how a lot of priests did believe that Jesus was the Messiah. But because of the Pharisees, they didn't dare come out in the open with it. They were afraid of getting kicked out of the meeting place. So when push came to shove, they cared more for human approval than they did for God's glory. So I spoke the truth, and I was kicked out of the meeting place. Big deal. Last I checked, the Hollywood meeting place was burning down because most of them were at Diddy's party. Oh, she said it! She said it! I had to pivot. This has pushed me to go out of my comfort zone. I was so familiar with acting and making other people's lines sound good that I forgot that I had other skills. This forced me to lean into writing, producing, forging a new path for my career, one that is better, where I can have a say in the content I'm co-creating. Professionally, no one would speak to me for 2 years, let alone hire me. But oh, how the tides have turned. I'm a published writer of a children's book. I've written and I'm currently developing 2 films. I just finished writing, producing, and acting in a kids' television series called The Adventures of Iggy and Mr. Kirk, coming out in 2025. I just signed with a literary agent to write another book, and now here I am with all of you. That's my favorite part. See, I was never canceled. I was just redirected. I've learned that when God closes a door, don't stand there crying, jiggling the handle. Don't get angry and try to bust it down. Don't try to frantically pick the lock. Instead, open your eyes, look around, and walk through the door He's opened right in front of you. The Bible commands, do not be afraid 365 times. God has not given you a spirit of fear. He has given you a do not be afraid for every day of the year. So to quote my book, One Small Little Voice, it takes just one voice to stand up for many. Then many will join and be voices of plenty. So when fear starts to creep in, stare it right in the face. Make courage contagious. Brave up. Stand in grace. Oh, and one last thing. Good luck, AmFest. I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Regents, you begin to understand